What is going on there, alpha males? I reckon it's time for another gear review. Just a fun gear review. So let's talk gear here on Alpha Male Podcast, where we talk about manliness, the right way, with Judeo-Christian values, made in the image of God, strong, dominant, in control. We don't apologize for that. First thing I'm going to talk about is Bible translations. I just put out a recast of an episode on go-to Bible translations. I have gotten a new Bible as of late, and I've been reading it quite a bit. And I'm going to go over what I like about that translation and maybe what I don't like. A quick recap. My general go-to is New King James. I like New King James. This NASB, New American Standard Bible, I in general like it. It's a good, easy to understand, and I think in general, faithful to the original text. With one sad exception, I was recently reading in Romans, and I'm sad to say I think maybe some woke garbage ideology has crept into this version of the Bible. Because, let me read to you here, from many other translations, Romans 8:14. Let's look at the original King James. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. New King James. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, these are sons of God. Let's look at one of my go-tos. It's not great for reading, but it's great if I want to understand what the text actually says, like literal word-for-word translation, and that's Young's literal translation, usually of 1898. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. Pretty congruent. Not a lot of discrepancy in the text variants there. Let's look at NASB. Let's look at this translation. For all who are being led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons and daughters of God. Really, do we need that garbage woke theology in our Bible? Are we so sensitive and so offended nowadays that it has to say sons and daughters? Like, obviously, that doesn't apply to everybody. Like, obviously, it's like when you used to say mankind. If you're offended by the saying mankind, you're just far too sensitive. Have some freaking fortitude. If you say mankind, it applies to all human beings. It doesn't just apply to men. If that offends you, again, you're just too sensitive. You shouldn't go and change the text for some new woke ideology. Sons and daughters. You don't have to put that in there. That's added in. You shall not add to or take away from. And I think that garbage woke ideology creeping in takes away from what is otherwise a good translation. But why? Why do you even need it? Why is that even a thing that needs to be in there? I mean, really. It's like mankind or the son of man. It's referring to all humans. And that shouldn't offend you. Now let's move on to a fun knife. Let he who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. That's what Jesus said in Luke. Now I carry a gun. I think that's a more modern equivalent, a handgun. A good fighting combat handgun, I think, is the most analogous to the short sword they were talking of in that day. A self-defense tool, right? A short sword is not generally used for, slicing bread. It's a defensive tool. But I also carry a blade. I generally carry at least one. I've been a big fan for a lot of years of the Tom Brown tracker knife. It was one of the first fixed blade knives that I EDC'd. Well, recently, generally if I'm EDCing like in my pocket, I carry a fixed blade and I carry it on an ulti-clip. And I like the Tom Brown mini tracker. It's not the only one, but it's a good little knife in my pocket. My wife recently, because she's a great wife, she bought me the Tom Brown tracker number 3. Because I had the Tom Brown tracker number 1, which is a beast. It's just, like, if you want, like, a camp knife that can double as a machete and a hatchet and a knife, that's the one. if you want a really good carryable every day as part of your EDC, a big fixed blade knife, but not be ridiculous, the number 3. My wife actually heard me talking about this and she bought me one without me knowing it. But the Tom Brown Tracker number 3 is probably the best all-around size if you're willing to EDC a fixed blade knife and you want a decent size fixed blade knife. It is a good size. It is a good weight. It's not so heavy as to be ridiculous, and I carry it on the side that I do not carry my handgun on, so it kind of evens out the weight. Right, on one side I have my handgun with a loaded mag, and on the other side I have another spare magazine, and I have a decent sized fixed blade knife. In this case, the Tracker number 3. It is a fantastic knife. If you're familiar with me in the EDC and stuff, you might know that I put some extras on there. I carry a ferrocerium rod on there. Ferrocerium rod. Often shortened to ferro rod. I also have a compass on there, and I'll have a whistle. Have some fishing line, some really better than your average monofilament. I forget if it's Spectra or something like it, but really high tensile strength fishing line with a fish hook on there. And I have water purification tablets in a very small titanium pill container for water purification, as I often find myself out in the backcountry. If you're not familiar with my wife and I, we often live large chunks off-grid, semi-nomadically. And having all that stuff, comes in handy, because much to my wife's chagrin sometimes, you never know what we're going to be doing in a day. I'm not one to like to stick to a trail or a schedule or anything like that. So having all that, just in case, is really nice. Anyway, that Tom Brown Tracker number 3, if you're looking for a good all-around size, it is a fantastic all-around knife. Some people really like the Tom Brown Tracker. Some people really hate the Tom Brown Tracker. When I first got it, I will be honest, I kind of got it and thought, maybe it's a gimmick, I'm going to try it out. But I actually really like it. It maybe looks unconventional, but it's good at a lot of really conventional tasks. It's good for a lot of things. Next, I have for a long time been a big fan of the what you would call trail runners. My first ones of these that I really liked were the old school 511 Recons, and they were great, and they stopped making them. I still have a pair that I try and keep fairly well maintained, like my emergency shoes for my bug out bag or whatever, because they stopped making them. I really like them. The newer ones I don't like as much. And then I went to the Danner trail runners. I forget what they're called, but I don't think they make more than one model. If you look up the Danners, I was familiar with Danner from my days in the military, and I really like the Danner trail runners. If you want a good pair of fair weather footwear that you can wear hiking, hunting, at the gym, you can go running in them. They're a good all-around shoe. Like, you want a shoe that can pretty much do mostly everything in fair weather. They're good for that. However, it's, recently getting below freezing here. Usually ice when I wake up in the morning. It snowed a day or two ago. Pretty good, actually. Unseasonably cold for this time of year here in northern Idaho. And so I recently ordered another pair, and I've heard good things about these. And since I've been wearing them, I really, really, really am impressed with these shoes. Boots. And these are the Jim Green African Ranger boots, designed for African Rangers, for catching poachers, protecting livestock, things like that. These boots are awesome. They are fantastic. Now, when I was a professional big game hunter and guide and ranch manager, I often would wear, proper cowboy boots, and I like the Georgia boot, all leathers. They're good. They're waterproof. Wouldn't want to be standing in water all day in them, but for, being in water for short amounts of time, they're fine. They're also decent for running and hiking in. These are better. I wish I had known about these when I was professionally hunting and guiding. These are fantastic. The soles are much more flexible, which I like. I'm a spot and stalk hunter. I like spotting and stalking and walking quietly, to the point of I even had felt slip over shoe covers to go on the bottom of my boots so I can walk more quietly when I'm trying to sneak up on animals. But these are really good. They're really quiet, and they're made really well. Really good leather. And they don't look like some kind of tactical boot. Not there's anything wrong with that. I've been a professional gunfighter most of my adult life. I was the commander of a tactical team to stop active shooters. I'm familiar with tactical boots, but these are just as good functionally, if not better, and they don't look like tactical boots. Like I don't wear jeans because, no, that's not me. Especially don't wear skinny jeans. But if you wore jeans, you could wear these and they would not look out of place with jeans. They don't look like a tactical boot. They don't look like anything crazy, but they're just really good, comfortable, well-soled, well-made boots. And they're the Jim Green African Ranger boot. And I wish that I had known about these earlier in life. They are amazing. I am a big fan, especially if you have wide feet, which I do. I have really, really wide feet. And these have a really, really wide toe box. And I dig that. That is awesome. I don't like being put in the quandary where I need to get a shoe that's 2 sizes too long to be wide enough for my feet. Because not all shoe manufacturers make like an extra wide. These are just a normal size and they still have a really wide toe box. So if you have really wide feet especially, you may check these out. They are really good. And they come with pretty decent insoles too. I was thinking about changing out the insoles I normally do, but these are so good I'm not really in a hurry to do so. Alright, here's a fun thing to talk about. Let's talk about hot sauce. If you like hot sauce, if you like hot food, and I really do. My wife and I are out of ghost pepper, to give you an idea how much. And we had a couple of things of it. And we are out of it. We love spicy food. My wife is a champ. We'll often go to, get something hot, and it's not hot enough. She is a champ when it comes to spicy food. Myself as well, we both really like spicy food, ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper, things like that. We really dig that stuff. Now, we currently live pretty remotely. We don't live anywhere near a Trader Joe's, but sometimes Trader Joe's does a run of smoked ghost pepper, and those are awesome. Just a dry ghost pepper. And those are fantastic. On really, really spicy, a really good hot sauce for adding to your dish for cooking with, like a chili or a stew or something, is Dave's Insanity Sauce. It is aptly named. That stuff is insanely hot. Don't think you're going to put it on your food like Tabasco and eat it. It is crazy hot, but it is really good to put in some beef chorizo or some kind of chili or something that you're making. It is really good for that. It is just really hot. Also, I really like a classic you can probably find most places, and that is Tabasco's Chipotle. Not the regular Tabasco. That's okay if your food tastes really bad, but I don't generally add it to food if it tastes good. But the Tabasco Chipotle is awesome. Really good, got a really good flavor. It's not crazy spicy, mildly spicy. But I talked about all this to talk about my favorite of all time. And we have a lot of hot sauces. I just checked. We got a bunch of hot sauces in the fridge and dry rubs and things. My favorite hot sauce that I've ever had, period. I could drink it. You could put it on an old shoe, and at least it would taste good. It is amazing, and it is Irish Spike's Unicorn Blood. It is awesome. Irish Spike's Unicorn Blood, Chipotle, and Blood Orange. It's not crazy spicy. I don't even think it's very spicy at all, but it just tastes so good. It's got a tangy, zesty, smoky flavor, and it is awesome. It is really, really good. I can't overstate just how good it is. Of all the hot sauces I've ever had, it's the best hot sauce I've ever had. That's just a fun, quick gear review for Alpha Male Podcast. I have a lot more gear review on the gun and tactical side of things, but if you're into that, you'll probably enjoy that more on Gunfighter Life. So check out Gunfighter Life if you want to hear about some guns and ammo and gun adjacent stuff. But anyway, that'll pretty much wrap up this episode of Alpha Male Podcast. If you want to help us support the show, consider becoming a patron. Patrons get a lot of cool insider stuff, including being part of an insider chat where we talk about all kinds of manly stuff and Bible verses, which are important, and knives and guns and all manner of things. General manliness. If you want to be part of that, consider becoming a patron, or if you just want to support the show. With that, your tactical tip of the day. Blue Loctite. Men, if you're doing any kind of work on anything, whether it's a gun or pretty much anything that you don't want the screw to come out of, where it's important that it stays in place. Blue Loctite. Red Loctite is for something you never, ever, ever want to come off again. Ever. Like, ever. But blue Loctite is good for pretty much anything. It's not so aggressive that you can't get the screw out, but if you want something where the screw is not going to loosen itself under vibration or something like that, blue Loctite, I think, literally could be worth its weight in gold in the right applications if you need it. So don't be stingy with the blue Loctite. I was about to do some gunsmithing work today. It's on the agenda to knock some stuff out as far as gunsmithing goes, God willing. And I didn't have blue Loctite. And I thought for a while, and I was like, I know better as a grown man who's done a lot of work with his hands. Go get the blue Loctite. I know it looks a little expensive for a little tiny tube of it. It's worth every penny. Don't be stingy on the blue Loctite. Also, on that note, tactical tip inside of a tactical tip, make sure your stuff is dry and clean. Hit it with some brake cleaner or hit it with like just a dry Q-tip or something to make sure there's not any oil or lube or anything in the screw, on the screw, or the screw holes, the threads, the nut, whatever it is. Get the other gunk out of there because obviously it's not going to work as well if there's other lube or stuff in there. So dry screw threads, dry threads, and blue Loctite if you don't want your things to come loose. Anyway, with that, let's roll into hopefully the most important part of the episode, tactical verse of the day. This simple, powerful, beautiful verse from 1 Timothy. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. I'm thankful for all that I have. I try to enjoy the blessings God's given me, but remember, you brought nothing into this world, and you can take nothing out of it. Remember what's really important, men. With that, thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.